thanks for having us present here, and I'm going to talk a little bit about Withings and how what we do is basically relevant to the insurance world. So, a few words about us. We're a European company created in 2008, and basically we've got an ecosystem of device that helps people basically create a dashboard of their health. So I think the best option is basically for me to show you. I have a number of devices. I have this smartwatch. I have this tracker here on my health, here on my jacket, and basically on my computer, on my iPhone, I can follow pretty much all of this. So since I'm not getting the, okay, oh, here it is. Excellent. So my tracker here synchronizes directly on my iPhone. I can get my weekly steps. I'll show you my weight trend as well. Right now, it's not so good. I ran the Paris Marathon, and I'm recovering. So basically, the problem we're trying to solve here is creating healthy habits for people. As insurers, you probably know much better than me that most people are pretty much aware of what they should be doing. They should be sleeping enough. So obviously, to come here, I haven't slept enough. They should be eating healthily. They should be active, and that will reduce basically their health risks. Now, the problem is very few people actually take action, and we think that's because of two things, essentially. First, they know what they should be doing, but they don't know where they stand compared to the general. They don't actually have any measure. They have no knowledge of what their habits are. And secondly, they have very little means to actually sustain the habits because they don't get any rewards for it. So our intuition, basically, is that if we create these devices that reward, basically, your healthy habits and that help you repeat enough times what you should be doing, well, it's going to become automatic. It's going to become seamless. So we're trying to make it fun. Now, that's at the individual level. But what I'd like to show you as well is how basically we can help sustain these healthy habits and how we can transform this into somehow a return on investment. How can you make prevention something that is profitable to actually create, to actually allow you, probably as insurers, to prescribe the devices? So one thing we've noticed is that if you begin to compare your steps with other people, as I am doing now, well, basically this creates both an incentive to track your habits, to track your activity for a much longer period of time, but it also creates an incentive to walk more. So basically, an extra friend basically makes you make an extra 1,000 steps a day. So in the long run, this adds up to reducing your risk somehow. Now, we have managed to create basically incentives for corporations to push what we do with precisely the intent of reducing some of the health costs that they may have, or in terms of absenteeism or RI. So beyond the individual use, what I'd like to show you is how we incorporate people in essentially cohorts, platforms, wellness platforms that generate some tools for organizations to push basically what we do and essentially to communicate on healthy behaviors. So here, it's pretty simple. I've received an invitation that's included me here in a corporate challenge. So it may sound very light at the first hand, but it actually allows an organization to manage a program, include people in teams, basically communicate on a collective performance, and actually it can allow you to do much more because as we enroll people in these programs, what we do is we obviously reward stronger performance, but we actually allow the collection of much more data to roll out a prevention campaign. So let me show you an example if I go down the history. So I've got all these messages because I'm part of this program. But what we do is actually, once we've enrolled people in a cohort, we've actually created a way to manage communities. So here's an example of a study which we're launching, actually here it's with a hospital, but we also do it with organizations, where we basically have enrolled people in a group, and based on that, we do a risk assessment, a cardiovascular risk assessment, and we can push this through our app. So that's from the user experience side. And now switching to my computer, I'll show you what it looks like if from the wellness interface part of things. So basically, our corporate wellness platform allows you to manage this particular cohort. As long as it uploads and the internet is right, I've got this community management tool. So it's unfortunate. Anyway, the point being, these surveys that I've just showed you, you're basically able to push them. You're basically able to extract aggregated data at the company side, at the company level. And when we roll this out in organizations, this is very much done in the US. We've added basically a consulting arm to our corporate wellness services, where we retrieve the data from the company of the participants of these programs, and we're going to match basically added physical activity data to other company metrics, such as absenteeism and turnover rate. So from an insurance perspective, the idea is prevention is all nice and well. You're probably going to get some big benefits if people are healthier in 15 years when the benefits materialize. But for an organization to actually implement a prevention program, they need much shorter return on investment, and this is basically driven by absenteeism rate. So I think what it is that you need to remember is there is an engaging way to enroll people in a group, push messages to these people, retrieve metrics, and actually adopt a data-driven approach to wellness. And this is essentially what we offer. And now, while we will basically push these sort of services directly to a company, what's happening now is that we are being distributed by insurance companies who add this as an extra service to their corporate clients. So as an additional benefits. And now, obviously, here in this example, there's no personal data, because people will only enroll if they see this as being a group thing. So if we have less than 5 people in a given category, we won't show the data. But you do get aggregated data that you can match against, basically company metrics. Now, one last thing that I'd like to show is it's very easy to manage your company, to manage your cohort. So you can say, take this survey, basically push a message, schedule or publish, and then within the app, so here there are several teams, then you can push basically pretty much any content that you want, and you'll get this pretty much in the survey that I just sent you. So, I mean, in conclusion, the idea here is we've created a very simple, very engaging tool that focuses on one particular thing, which is creating healthy communities at organization level. We've made it simple enough to be distributed by other players. Obviously, Withings is a company of about 200 people, so we rely a lot on these platforms, on these other providers to push our offers. And the one last thing I'd like to say is when we've moved on from basically creating prevention mechanisms for individuals to actually pushing platforms for organizations to manage health at the wellness level, what we've actually created is also a tool to manage cohorts of patients. So there is actually a continuum from individual prevention in terms of tools to patient monitoring. So here I've showed you something on steps, but with the medical world, we'll do things on blood pressure or on weight management. So this was just a glimpse, and I'm happy to discuss it with you today if you're interested. Thank you very much for letting me do this demo.